Hi, I'm Sandy Schroeck for LBR Educates, and today we're going to be creating a vintage style Bohemian bridal bouquet. This bouquet is going to feature this vintage palette that we see that's ever so popular, that shades of blush, brownish tones, the darker creams, and coming in utilizing a lot of the bleached to really give that contrast to those brown tones. So let's get started. We are going to be making this in a spiral fashion. So I've chosen Hydrangea to kind of become my base for my design. So I'm really utilizing my finger here as gonna be the bind point. So I'm gonna lay this in, and first you're pinching your thumb to your pointer finger, but as you come in, so what we're gonna do is always take the head to the left, so the top of the flower over to your elbow, and here you can see I'm adding in a little bit of sea star, and then always my stems come across. So if I really think about it, what I'm doing is coming in the top of the flower there, and then the bottom goes away. Now on some of this dry material, you can see I cut the stem shorter. I want to make sure that that stem doesn't go down into the water source. And so there you can see our start of a bouquet. I've already pre-cleaned all of my flowers. So you want to take your recipe and sort them out on the table and be able to come down and just grab the floral materials while the bouquet is in your hand and just proceed from one item to the next. This is a new item, that's pistachio foliage, that I'm gonna come in, and that is actually going to be able to kind of form an armature on this bouquet. And then I'm gonna come down, so the spray rose, head to the left, stem to the right, and then I'm gonna tip it up in. So you can see that all my stems are coming in and following that spiral pattern. I'm really not gonna worry about the height. What I'm gonna do is go down and kind of create 1/3 of the bouquet. And so smaller things can be grabbed in multiples, but larger items, you just wanna bring them in. And so doing that up and down placement, we're going to be doing that once we get a little bit further along. So head to the elbow and then tip it up in. And so I have one of each of those kinds of flowers there. I'm gonna bring in a couple carnations and lay those in. That's more of a value flower. I'm gonna keep the line flowers a little bit to the end, and also some of the more expensive form flowers. I'm gonna add those in a little bit later. So we just keep moving down the line, add a little bit of the fresh green bunny tail coming out in over here, and just take a look every once in a while at your stems coming through. If you're a little bit less experienced, we know that the bouquet is not gonna be this long, so we can easily cut that off so it's a little bit more manageable. But you can see how I've kind of got them stair-stepped out. And then what we're gonna do is take our other hand, come in, and I'm just gonna turn it. So now I have this third of the bouquet is opened up. And so that third has that, and then we're gonna do that one more time. So now I'm getting to the point where I'm adding in some of these line flowers and some of the form flowers. And so I am going to a little bit, but you can poke stuff in, and you can see at this point here, when I come in, it does follow that line down. So the easiest thing is to decide where you want it and turn that side of the bouquet toward you, and then add that item in. Just keep looking down to see if you've got that form continuing to be followed. So here you can see that I'm utilizing some of the stronger foliages to support some of the more finer and delicate elements that I'm adding, such as this fine fern. I'm using the Cocculus underneath it as a support element, and also the bleach ruscus does work really well as that supporting element as well. Now I'm going to take a look and do some raising and lowering of the elements within the design. So you can see, like here, the peonies was one of the first ones we put in, but we know that that's a money flower. Some of the Lisianthus and the form flowers, we're pulling those out to get a little bit more depth in this bouquet. But I didn't make adjustments the whole time as I was making the bouquet, because it really will slow you down. And when you stick the next stem in, lots of times the one before will move anyway, so you end up moving it multiple times. And so this is a way for you to be efficient with your labor and create that depth and dimension in the bouquet. I'm just going to add a little bit more of the ferns to the side, and this is to give a little bit more of that oval vintage look that we're seeing. So it's more, not quite a cascade bouquet, but it has a little bit more personality, and it helps to bring that repetition of that fern shape out from some of the other elements that we have in the interior. With the spiral bouquet now, you can see that I can lay it down. It's gonna stay together. I'm able to come in and grab some of the sheer ribbon. So we're gonna put this bouquet into a vase of water. And so we want to be able to, I like to use the sheer ribbon so that way it can submerge in the water. And you'll see I didn't do a tie, I'm just pulling it onto itself. Keeping it be a little bit looser so that it does keep that shape that we designed. And then lastly, we're just going to fold this back over on itself and then add some pins that go up into the middle of the bouquet. you're gonna need a wide mouth vase to be able to put it in so that it keeps that flare. The Adorn vase is one of the ones I like. So here you can see our vintage Bohemian style bridal bouquet. It has a variety of components that has different textures, shapes, some of the foreign flowers that are floating on top, giving that different placement. It's done in the spiral fashion and then just tied off with a sheer ribbon. I'm Sandy Schroeck for LBR Educates.